Outrageous. Lawless Biden judge orders Trump administration to admit roughly 12,000 potentially dangerous refugees into America. That's our top story for today. My name's Sarah Stock, and this is the Gateway Pundits Week in Review. So our first story today, of course, we have another liberal judge trying to stop the Trump administration from doing exactly what we voted for them to do. So another black-robed tyrant has usurped President Trump's lawful immigration authorities in a fit of anger and arrogance. As the Associated Press reported, U.S. District Judge Jamal Whitehead, a Biden judge from Seattle, on Monday ordered the Trump administration to admit around 12,000 refugees into America under a court order partially barring the president's attempt to suspend the nation's refugee admissions program. At the same time, he ignored the possibility that these refugees could pose a threat to America. He says this court will not entertain the government's result-oriented rewriting of a judicial order that clearly says what it says. The government is free, of course, to seek further clarification from the Ninth Circuit. But the government is not free to disobey statutory and constitutional law and the direct orders of this court and the Ninth Circuit while it seeks such clarification, he added. This means that American lives are now potentially in danger thanks to this rogue judge's ruling. You might remember when the Gateway Pundit reported back in February that Whitehead blocked Trump's attempts to stop the federal refugee resettlement program, which has been abused for years by Democrat administrations and refugees themselves. In his ruling, Whitehead said that Trump's actions were an effective nullification of congressional will in setting up the nation's refugee admissions program. The president has substantial discretion to suspend refugee admissions, Whitehead stated, but that authority is not limitless. I don't know about you, but I'm getting pretty tired of these liberal judges just getting in the way of everything that we voted for. I mean, we're wanting more deportations, and we're constantly getting this blocked. And now, not only are they not letting us deport as many people as we want, but they're also trying to force us to continue letting in people who do not deserve to come to America. Our next story, a horror as 22-year-old college student was fatally shot inside South Carolina home by career criminal with multiple previous arrests. This is an article written by Christina Layla. This is the woman here, Logan Federico, and the career criminal Alexander Geike. Beautiful college student, 22 years old, was fatally shot inside a Columbia, South Carolina rental home on Saturday night by a career criminal who was on a spree of thefts, break-ins, and credit card fraud, the Columbia Police Department said. This college student from Waxhaw, North Carolina, was spending the weekend at a rental home with friends in South Carolina when she was senselessly murdered by a career criminal. After stealing firearms and credit cards from a nearby home, 30-year-old Alexander Dickey broke into the Columbia rental home early Saturday morning, entered Logan Federico's home, and fatally shot her. Dickey fled the scene in a stolen vehicle and allegedly used stolen credit cards taken from the nearby home. Police pursued Dickey after he fled into the woods. He reportedly broke into another home, set it on fire, before police took him into custody after a standoff in Gaston. Here is a video of the police talking about it.
This is from her. You can't kill my spirit, and please keep my daughter and your family in our prayers.
An emotional father leaving the podium in tears this evening's news conference with multiple law enforcement agencies describing the brutal killing of his daughter. And that father, who you just heard from, says he was her hero. And he says, unfortunately, this past weekend, he could not be her hero. We're joining News 19's Shelly Garzone in studio. And Shelly, the dad says his daughter was working 2 jobs to become a teacher. What else are you learning about this gruesome investigation?
Yeah, Erica, as you could see, very emotional tonight for family and friends as they're mourning the loss of their friend and daughter, Logan. This all taking place over the weekend on the 2700 block of Cypress Street after an alleged suspect entered the home and fired a gun, taking Logan's life.
My daughter, I cherished. She was a strong, fun, loving individual who did what she wanted to do.
It's how family and friends will remember 22-year-old Logan Federico. According to the Columbia Police Department, Federico was visiting friends on Cypress Street from out of town. The police say the group of friends returned to the home around 3 in the morning Saturday. CPD investigators believe 30-year-old suspect Alexander Dickey allegedly broke into 2 neighboring homes on Cypress Street, stealing several items.
The suspect also breaks into the home next door. These houses are side by side. And he steals several items, including a wallet and credit and debit cards. While in this residence, we believe that he enters a room where Miss Logan is located and fires a fatal shot.
According to the Richland County coroner, Nada Rutherford, Federico was shot in the chest. Police say the suspect then fled the scene in a stolen vehicle and headed towards West Columbia, where he allegedly used the stolen cards.
He ultimately drives to Saluda County and attempts to make additional fraudulent purchases. While at a location in Saluda County, the stolen vehicle breaks down. This leaves Dickey somewhat stranded. He then calls for a tow service to move his stolen vehicle from Saluda to a residence in Gaston County.
Law enforcement say they were able to track the suspect's location throughout several counties.
Around 4 p.m. yesterday, a Lexington County resident reports seeing somebody come from the woods, steals a vehicle, and attempts to flee the area in a stolen vehicle.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are very sick of the senseless violence. Prayers go out to this woman's family. That's just tragic. And hopefully we can start cleaning up all the criminals in this country so that more things like this don't happen. Next story, just in. Senator Cornyn supports confirming Ed Martin for D.C. U.S. Attorney after Tillis makes shocking admission to reporters. Here is the video.
He is, I don't believe he's being advanced to the markup. I met with Mr. Martin. He seems like a good man. Most of my concerns related to January 6th, and he built a compelling case on some of the 15-12 prosecutions that were probably heat of the moment bad decisions, but where we probably have a difference is I think anybody that breached the perimeter should have been in prison for some period of time. Whether it's 30 days or 3 years is debatable, but I have no tolerance for anybody who entered the building on January the 6th, and that's probably where most of the friction was.
I see. So he disagreed with you on that?
Well, no, I have to say that Mr. Martin did a good job of explaining how there were people that probably got caught up in it, but they made the stupid decision to come through a building that had been breached and that the police officers and others were saying stay away. So the difference wasn't that they should be charged, in my estimation, it's by how much. That's an argument I'm willing to have, but we have to be very, very clear that what happened on January the 6th was wrong. It wasn't, it was not prompted or created by other people to put those people in trouble. They made a stupid decision and they disgraced the United States.
As you saw in that video, Senator John Cornyn on Tuesday said that he will support President Trump's nominee for U.S. Attorney Ed Martin after rumors circulate that he might oppose the nomination. Ed Martin is currently the acting U.S. Attorney for D.C., and Trump recently announced that he nominated him for a permanent position as one of the country's top cops. If Ed Martin is not confirmed by May 20th, a federal court in D.C. will appoint an interim U.S. Attorney until he is confirmed. There's currently no vote scheduled to confirm Ed Martin. Earlier Tuesday, Rhino Senator Tom Tillis, who voted to confirm Biden's radical pick for Attorney General Merrick Garland, told reporters that he opposes the nomination of Ed Martin for D.C. U.S. Attorney. Tillis made a shocking admission to reporters. He actually said he would support Ed Martin for any district except where January 6th happened. Interesting. In other words, Tillis admitted Ed Martin is qualified to be a U.S. Attorney, but he's potentially derailing Martin's nomination for political reasons. I think we're all so shocked about this. I have no tolerance for anybody who entered the building on January the 6th, and it's probably where most of the friction was, Tillis said. The North Carolina senator said people who merely entered the U.S. Capitol on January 6th after police opened the doors and let them in, as we all know, should serve up to 3 years behind bars. Personally, as someone who has friends who were there on January 6th, they didn't think they were committing a crime. They were led into the building, And this is a clear miscarriage of justice, the fact that people are being prevented from serving in our government simply because we have people like this liberal attorney who just hate January 6ers so much for being so patriotic and not wanting elections to be stolen from the American people. Moving on, Warren Buffett just invested over $50 billion in energy. Billionaire Ken Griffin increases oil investments by 150%. Even Elon Musk says that we can't live without oil. But here's what Wall Street isn't telling you. There's a smarter way to profit from oil than buying stocks. It's a unique investment that lets you collect monthly royalty checks from America's richest oil fields. You're not buying shares in a company, you're getting direct ownership in oil-producing properties. And you can start with just $25. If you want to learn more about this, you can learn more about this #1 royalty play for 2025 at ElijahOil.com. That's ElijahOil.com to discover how to collect monthly oil royalty checks starting today. In other news, Jill Biden's new job revealed after leaving White House in disgrace. Joe Biden's wife and lead handler has a new gig months after departing the White House in disgrace. In a twist, she will be staying in the swamp. The Milken Institute announced in a press release last Tuesday that it was launching a new women's health network to collate, elevate, and advance existing and new efforts across the women's health ecosystem. The organization also announced that Jill Biden will chair the new initiative. The Milken Institute is grateful for Dr. Biden's leadership during her tenure in the White House and her steadfast commitment to championing investment in women's health. We're so pleased she will join us as we launch and grow the Women's Health Network, said Esther Kofa, Executive Vice President, Milken Institute Health. Jill said that she was honored to take on this new role. So I guess now, instead of handling the very much aging and sick Joe Biden, instead of caring about her husband's health, which is rapidly declining, as we could all see while he was president, Jill Biden is now focusing on women's health, which possibly could just mean promoting things like abortions, birth control, all things that are just not the best for society. Moving on. Boom. Stephen Miller's America First Legal drops bombshell lawsuit against Chief Justice John Roberts. This is an article written by Jim Hoft at the Gateway Pundit. Well, I think we can all agree that America does not need any more of these unconstitutional shadow agencies. What we want is more transparency, and we want Americans to start getting put first. So I think we're all hoping that this lawsuit goes through. My name's Sarah Stock, filling in for Elijah Schaefer today for the Gateway Pundits Week in Review. If you like these stories and want to read more, you can head over to our website, thegatewaypundit.com, or you can also get this Gateway Pundit mug. We currently don't have a sink, so I had to fill it with my iced coffee like that, but still great. We love it. If you liked watching this, please tune in for more, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.